We are doing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 12. This is the last canto. This is chapter 2, the symptoms of Kali-yuga. Last week we had done the symptoms of Kali-yuga. And they were very terrible for us because it spoke of everything that is going to go down. So today we are beginning a new verse, which is 19 and 20 from chapter 22, symptoms of Kali-yuga. This is about the coming of Kalki, the last avatar of Sri Krishna or Vishnu avatar. Lord Kalki, the Lord of the universe, will mount his swift horse, Devdutt, and sword in hand, travel over the earth, exhibiting his 8 mystic opulences and 8 special qualities of Godhead. Displaying his unequaled effulgence and riding with great speed, he will kill by the millions those thieves which have dared dress as king. So, we are talking about the coming of Kalki. Now, Lord Kalki, which is the last avatar of Vishnu, how does he come? There is no, prelude to this. That means there is no birth as such. This particular avatar is going to come just like that. And how does he come? He comes mounted on his swift horse, Devdutt. So that means there is something completely different that is happening. He is like a calamity. And when he is coming, he comes on a very, very swift horse. In the Bible also, there is a mention about the coming of the horseman. Here also it's the same thing. You will find that these are allegorical kind of stories where we actually need to find out what they mean. Now, if you look at today's day and age, people talk of the coming of environmental issues. Some people talk of the coming of some comet. Some people talk in terms of the deluge, different kinds of things that are mentioned at the end of the yuga. So that means when there is an end coming up, there is something that happens which is going to destroy this entire world. So here also it's literally like that. So the coming of Lord Kalki, who is mounted his swift horse called Devdutt, he's got a sword in hand, travels over the earth, exhibiting his 8 mystic opulences and 8 special qualities of Godhead. So what are these 8? I mean, every time I don't know whether you have noticed, everywhere, in every book, the number 8 is very, very important. Do you remember the birth of Krishna? So that is the 8th one. All right. So likewise, if you see, there are so many things which are divided into 8. So why is this significance of 8 over here? What is this 8 mystic opulences? Ashta Siddhi. We have heard of this Ashta Siddhi. That means 8 mystic opulences. Person can become small, can become big, can have tremendous amount of power, so on and so forth. I don't want to discuss all that, but you have to understand that 8 is a very significant figure over here. The Lakshmis, they are Ashtabharyas. The 8 Lakshmis are there. Krishna's wives, how many are there? 16,108. Again, the significance of 8 is there. Now, this entire creation is going to work exactly like this, where the 8 powers that are there, they are going to play havoc at the end of this yuga, Kali-yuga. And this is the reason why it is saying Kali-yuga. 8 special qualities of Godhead. 8 destructive powers. He's got special powers also. He is going to display his unequaled effulgence and riding with great speed. When you look at this aspect of it and you visualize, what is the visual that comes to your mind? Dinosaurs. You remember dinosaurs? And then some great comet came and hit the earth. And when it hit the earth, Tunguska or some such kind of thing, we don't even know. And the mud was thrown high into the air. It covered the entire universe. It covered the entire atmosphere and shut down the sunlight. And that created a lot of problems, and then the whole world came to an end and all the dinosaurs and all went away. This is what we actually think in terms of. Kalki is termed as an avatar. He is the avatar who is going to join us maybe a couple of hundreds of years from now, not so soon. Yeah, you have got time to do whatever you want to during the Kali-yuga. But deterioration is what is happening. We are talking about deterioration. And he will kill by the millions those thieves who have dared dressed as kings. Remember, we were discussing about the 4 Varnas. What are they? The Brahmins and then Kshatriyas and so on and so forth. But are they really Brahmins, Kshatriyas and all in today's day and age? No. Today's day and age has got the leaders. There are leaders. What kind of leaders are there? There are leaders of countries and companies and so on and so forth. Now, you may ask me, why are you saying company? You look at a company which is a $1 trillion organization. How many countries have a GDP of that much? Not many. You can count on fingertips. So you will find that one company is as big as a couple of countries put together, isn't it? They may be employing maybe 100,000 or so, but their economic outreach is so much that they can take over countries if they want. They can buy out people. Aren't countries being bought out just now also? See, countries have been made, people, some of the bigger countries, bigger nations, they have given loans and created such a dangerous situation that these small countries are in no position to pay the loans back. So they have sold their countries to these bigger nations. So can you see the deterioration that is already coming? So there are nations and there are leaders who are literally taking over organizations, companies, nations, you name it. Some people are establishing entire islands as their own. Okay? They're creating, a base, a military base. And some other countries are being given so many sops that finally they have to sell themselves to that particular person, that particular country. So what is being mentioned over here is the thieves who dared dress as kings. These are leaders, these are human beings who have usurped power. Maybe they have taken it by force, or maybe they have taken it by elections, or whatever the case might be. It could be military action or whatever. But they have taken charge of countries. So such kind of people have to be first killed by the millions. Why millions? Because They are themselves alone not responsible. You will find that the entire military is with them, the entire army, navy, and everybody is with them, isn't it? They're supporting them. Plus their Politburo, whatever, political party that they are in. So all those people have to be first destroyed. And this is the reason why Kalki's avatar comes and he first kills them by the millions. After all, the impostor kings have been killed. After all the impostor kings have been killed, the residents of the cities and the town will feel the breeze carrying the most sacred fragrance of sandalwood paste and other decorations of Lord Vasudeva, and their minds will thereby become transcendently pure. So, after all these leaders, remember, it is first the leaders. So think about it. If you want to become a politician or if you want to become a CEO of a company, now remember, if Kalki comes during your time, means you are finished. So better be careful. Okay. So what is mentioned over here is simply this, that those who have got the power to their head, we say, some power has gone to the head of that person. So if the power has gone to the head of the person, then this is how the doom is. So all the impostor kings have been killed. The residents of the cities and the towns will feel the breeze. The breeze will carry we say the Malaya breeze. I'm sure, in the past when we have read, it is called the Malaya breeze. This breeze, that means what? There is definitely something which is mentioned over here, which we need to take into account. What is that is mentioned? If there is a catastrophe of a particular kind, why is it affecting only certain number of people and not everybody? So why it should affect only the leaders and maybe the political parties or people who are in politics, people who are company leaders or whatever? Why is it only going to affect them and not the common man? See over here, what is mentioned is the residents of the cities and the towns will feel the breeze carrying the most sacred fragrance of the sandalwood paste and other decorations of Lord Vasudeva, and their minds will thereby become transcendently pure. So it translates into that the common man or the person who has been doing his job diligently is not going to get affected at all. Understood? Because he will be under the command of Sri Krishna himself. The particular breeze which we are talking about will flow through this entire cities and the towns, taking over all the devotees of the Lord. The entire creation has been made in such a way that there are differentiations. There are differentiations between man, animal, birds. I'm sure you know this. Similarly, there is a gradation between human beings. In today's day and age, everybody is a Shudra because everybody is a worker. There are only few leaders. And those leaders that are there, their power has gone to their head. Some leaders, very few leaders are very good. They are good-natured people, but the rest of the leaders are bad. Power has gone to their head and they are terrible. So here the mention is there's a fragrance of sandalwood paste and other decorations. What is this fragrance and other decorations mean? What is the most important decoration of Sri Krishna? Do you know? It is the tulsi. You know tulsi? The tulsi patta is put in the form of a garland. So the fragrance of tulsi is tremendous. Chandan. Chandan is sandalwood. The sandalwood fragrance is where, if you have ever gone to a sandalwood forest, or if you have, now those who have come to Mysore over here and seen the Mysore factory or used the Mysore sandal soap. Have you used Mysore sandal soap? So Mysore sandal soap is actually made with sandalwood oil. The technique of making Mysore sandal soap is very ancient technique. It is not the new one. They're still using the ancient technique, and that is the reason why they have to use the base is sandalwood oil. The sandalwood fragrance is tremendously overpowering. There are certain things which Krishna likes. You know, there are certain flowers, there are certain fragrances. And if you go and study the kind of fragrances that he likes, those fragrances are coming from his body. His body exudes those fragrances. The sandalwood paste is applied all over his body. If you have been to Tirupati, you have seen the entire, Balaji is covered with sandalwood paste. Have you seen that? So that is how it is. So the other decorations, they give off nice, beautiful smell. Suhas we call it. We can't call it vas. Vas means dirty smell. Suvas means good smell, fragrance. So this translates into that when the horseman is coming, after he has destroyed, there should be a horrible smell of the rotting flesh, isn't it? But that is not being mentioned. What is mentioned over here is the smells are going to be very fragrant. So there is something which is completely different over here. What is that difference? We will come to it shortly, don't worry. Once everybody is killed, I will tell you. And these people, the devotees, they become transcendently pure. When Lord Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appears in their heart in his transcendental form of goodness, the remaining citizens will abundantly repopulate the earth. Every time when I speak to you people, I say, be your good self. These words are not frivolous. They are not just said for the sake of saying. Human beings need to have goodness in their heart. The goodness in their heart is, see, we all have some kind of an evil in us, isn't it? Every time when you look at a person, you cannot feel happiness looking at a person. Sometimes when you look at a person, you get angry, you get upset. All these kind of feelings come in a person. What is the meaning of the word bring in goodness? When you bring in the goodness in your heart, think about it. Can you see goodness in a person instead of seeing evil in a person? Think about it like that. If you look at an individual and that person is an ugly looking person, so you say, oh, it's so horrible looking person. But can you see the goodness in that person? To see goodness is godliness. So here in this verse, when Lord Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appears in their heart in his transcendental form of goodness, the remaining citizens will abundantly repopulate the earth. That means all the rich people, all the powerful people, all the leaders, the people who are supposed to rule over this earth will all get destroyed at one time. It is something like Noah's Ark, isn't it? Doesn't it tell you of Noah's Ark? But in Noah's Ark, only two people came in, okay? Two of the kind, one female and one male. In this case, he is not talking of that. What he is saying is, if you are a leader, if you are a king, if you are somebody who is ruling a particular place, please be careful. You are the one who is going to get destroyed, not the common man. One more thing. If you have seen movies like Terminator and all, Terminator, I'm sure you have seen. In Terminator, there is always a leader of the underground. And there is somebody who creates this new entity, the Terminator. No, this is nothing to do with that. It's a very good story, but what is meant over here is there is no leader over here. Is he talking about leader? He's not talking about somebody who is going to lead another in revolution. There is no revolution, there is nothing like that. So there is no leader over there. Only the devotees of the Lord will remain, which means the believers are all that will remain. And when the believers remain, what do they do? You see, if there are two believers coming together of the Divine Lord, what do? They speak about the Lord, isn't it? Do they do any other thing? No. Well, think about it. Kalki has just come and destroyed this entire, all the rich and the famous and all those people. Then what is it that's going to happen? All the people, those who are basically, the repopulated mass, whatever. Do you think they're going to sit and gossip? Do you know how this fellow got killed? That is not what is going to happen. We do not discuss. That is the reason why, look at the line which says, it says, God appears as goodness in the heart, not gossip in the heart. Okay? So they are not going to say, oh, how he got killed. No, we are not going to discuss that. The devotees will discuss only the goodness of the Lord and nothing beyond that. I hope you understand this. See, when a big tragedy happens, like you have seen, the Kerala tragedy which has happened, the entire state got inundated with water. There were lots of people who died. People became homeless. Similarly, in Coorg also, in Madikeri, in those districts also, the same thing has happened. Landslides came in, water entered people's houses, so many problems happened. So there was a lot of destruction that happened. Now, this is on a small scale. Imagine this kind of a destruction happening across the world. Then what happens? Yeah, don't worry. Elon Musk is going to try to blast off his rocket and go to the moon. Yeah, that's what he may try. And people are going to go in the bunkers. They have created this kind of bunkers so that you can run inside and stay over there for a few months or something like that. Sorry, boss, if the bunker gets covered by an entire, mountain, how are you going to come out of the bunker, by the way? You understand what I'm saying? If the bunker is underground, and if that underground gets covered by a mountain of mud or dust, how are you going to come out of the bunker? You may stay inside for a month or 2 months, but then what are you going to do? So that kind of this is a very funny thing. Okay, I'll explain this to you. Human beings always think like this. How do they think? Precautionary measures. Precautionary measures we have. Human beings think that they can take precautionary measures. One of the very important precautionary measures is, I have to take care of my old age. So I better have some savings. I need to have a house. I need to be staying somewhere safe and sound, and I need to have money in the bank. God's ways are not like that. Can you go back in your own family history? Please go back. I'm not telling you my family history. I'm telling you, go back to your own family history. You will be having some grandfathers, grandmothers, this one, that one, so many people in your own household, isn't it? Go and think about what they did. They also tried to build houses. They also tried to save money. They also tried to do so many things. Precautionary measures. insurance policies. Sir, when God wants to strike, no, your insurance policy doesn't come in handy. No life insurance will come in handy, and no property insurance also will come in handy, because you see, the whole place is going to get finished. You are expecting the company to survive. The company who has given you the insurance, they also will finish. So then whom are you going to claim the insurance from? The government is not going to be there. Isn't it mentioned over here? The leaders are going to get destroyed. So there is no government. Okay. Secondly, there are no leaders over here to distribute you your insurance. Okay. So even if you are thinking in those human terms, that yet I need to insure myself from any kind of calamity in the future when I become old, God's ways are different. If you think you have saved money in the bank and so that you can live a very decent lifestyle, it is never going to happen. I can write and give you. If you think your children are going to look after you and maybe the house which is there which you have built for yourself, that is also not going to take care of you, because the house is going to go to somebody else, or it may go to the dogs. You see, in the last 3-4 years, the number of properties that we have seen, there are people in Goa who have locked their houses and gone away to some foreign country to earn a living over there. And their houses have gone to dogs, to the ruins, absolute ruins. Some houses, even the tap fittings have been removed. You know, the taps and the water pipes and all. Yeah, they have opened the windows, they have opened everything out. They have taken even the latch of the window. Why? Because they will get some money. All these robbers will get some money. That's why. So what is the use of keeping a house like that? The grass is overgrown, the shrubberies are there, the entire place has gone to the dogs. You cannot come and sell it also, because if you come and sell, it is going to take a long time. Ask anybody who thinks that they can use some house or some property or some bank money in the bank for their future safety and concern. You know, it's not going to happen. It doesn't happen like that. Suppose you have, ownership. I can tell you of one of my relatives. She had 65 flats, not 1 and 2, 65 flats in Mumbai. And one day, everything went to the dogs. All the buildings were destroyed. They had to be razed down. And now what has that person done? That person is staying ground plus 1 plus 2. So the first daughter stays on the first floor, the second daughter stays on the second floor, and the owner stays on the ground floor. This is all that they have done. So what happened to the money which was supposed to come from those 65 flats? Sir, it is not coming. It doesn't work like that. Never has it worked like that. So if you think really that there is going to be some future there, please understand it's not going to be there. So here what he says is, the goodness of heart is all that is needed. And when Krishna enters your heart, this is the important thing we need to remember. When Krishna enters the heart, only with goodness. The entering of the heart and the goodness is very much linked to each other. When I continuously keep on preaching to all of you all, be your good self, be your good self, be your good self, it only means that bring the Krishna within you. Do not bring the devil within you. Remember this, either you give space to the devil or you give space to Krishna. So give space to Krishna, isn't it? Everybody out there is evil. Everybody. No exceptions. Why do you want to be a part of that? Can you not be a devotee of the Lord and be a good human being. So that is what he says. Lord Vasudev, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appears in the heart in their transcendental form of goodness, and the remaining citizens will abundantly repopulate the earth. So the rest of the citizens that are there, what they will do is, they will again repopulate the earth. That means they will spread out. They will spread out to those countries. Today, we are not allowed to enter countries. Every country has blocked the entry of foreigners. Do you know that? Visas are being cancelled. People are not allowed to go to other country. They think that by doing that, all the bad elements are not going to come in. But what they don't understand is Krishna is not like that. You see, Krishna is already seen to it that bad elements exist everywhere. You don't require people to come from some other country to come and destroy yours. No. It's already there. Your own citizens are going to destroy the place. Because there is evil within the country also. I was reading about a country called Japan. You know, the idea which we have about Japan is such a nice country, such a beautiful place, and so on and so forth. And attached to it were some videos. Attached to this particular article, the person had substantiated with videos and pictures to say that this is what she experienced. Now, she was a person who lived in Japan for many years and then went to Australia and then now had come to Japan once again. There is a place for elderly. There were youngsters sitting with headphones and all, and there were elderly people standing over there but not willing to give the seat. And this is a woman, I told you. So one day when she was sitting somewhere outside, a man kept on staring at her. Then he came and approached her, and then he said, "Would you like to have coffee with me or tea with me," or something like that. And then he point blank asked her, "I want to have sex with you." I mean, how is it like this? Can you see the advent of Kali-yuga even in such a beautiful country as Japan? People are refusing to have children over there. I'm sure you know that. Even in the European countries, people refuse to have children nowadays. And they are all afraid that foreigners are going to take over their country. But they have already taken over. What are you bothered about? So there is no security blanket over the country. Okay? You already injected that venom inside your own body. So this is the reason why there can be no guarantees. No guarantees, no such thing as, okay, insurance policies. No insurance policies will work. No savings will work. Let me assure you this much. Only devotion will work. You may say, I'm trying to propagate devotion. No, it's not like that. This is what you have seen happening right around you, and it is continuing to happen right now also. When the Supreme Lord has appeared on earth as Kalki, the maintainer of religion, Satyuga will begin, and human society will bring forth progeny in the mode of goodness. So, this yuga comes to an end. Only a few people who are remaining, they will give birth to the next generation. And the next generation will be only full of sattva. It is not genetic modification that's going to happen, because people immediately think in terms of science. This is nothing to do with genetic modification. No. Here the genes are not important. It is goodness of heart that is important. See, your genes could be the worst kind. You know Ashtavakra, no? See, He was already a twisted person, 8 places when he was born. He was born very ugly person. But what is more important? The goodness of heart is very important. It is not goodness of genes. You see, even if you inject yourself with some good genes, I don't want black color, I want fair. I want blue eyes. I want, now white hair is okay. People will say, I want golden hair. I want this. No. You are trying to do only superficial changes. They are not worth it. We are talking of goodness of heart. You cannot inject goodness of heart by some kind of a gene in you. No. You may say, tomorrow I need to have a lot of serotonin. All those happy kind of stuff. No, that doesn't work. Just thinking that is going to work is not correct. Understood? It is only mode of goodness. Goodness in the heart is all that is required. Sattva is only mode of goodness. Please be good. Be your good self. This is my only, wish, that everybody is good. Become sattvic in nature. When the moon, the sun and Brahaspati are together in the constellation of Karkata and all the three enter simultaneously into the lunar mansion Pushya, at that exact moment, the age of Satya or Krita will begin. So he has given a definitive answer over here. When are all these three going to come together? The moon, the sun, Brahaspati, all together in the constellation of Karkata, Cancer. You understand what he's saying? The sun, the moon. Right? See, when they come simultaneously in Karkata and three enter simultaneously into the lunar mansion of Pushya, the exact moment of Satyuga will begin. So there is a very definitive indication when in the solar system, when we look at the astrological inputs, the astrological inputs are also given over here. So those who know astrology can follow this. I don't understand astrology. Okay. Thus I have described all the kings, past, present and future, who belong to the dynasties of the sun and the moon. From your birth up to the coronation of King Nanda, 1150 years will pass. So Sukdev Goswami is telling Parikshit that, what is he saying? From your coronation to the coronation of King Nanda, 1150 years will pass. Of the seven stars forming the constellation of the seven rishis, Pulaha and Kratu are the first to rise in the night sky. If a line running north and south were drawn through this midpoint, whichever of the lunar mansions this line passes through is said to be ruling asterism of the constellation of that time. The seven sages will remain connected with that particular lunar mansion for 100 human years. Currently, during your lifetime, they are situated in the nakshatra called Magh. So, those who understand, these words, he is giving an idea when King Parikshit existed. During your lifetime, these nakshatras are in Magh. Okay, he's mentioned this. And what is the future when this new generation comes about? He's talking about the seven constellations. Okay, seven sages. So, how are they going to be placed? I wouldn't know this because this all requires astrological calculations. And those who know astrology will be able to do the calculations. Maybe they will tell you. But there is a time in the future when all this is going to come together, and he has given the exact date and the time also. The Supreme Lord Vishnu is brilliant like the sun and is known as Krishna. When he returned to the spiritual sky, Kali entered this world and people then began to take pleasure in sinful activities. So in this verse, there is a very clear mention of how the entry of Kali has happened. You see, we pray to the Divine Mother Kali. Her reign started the day Krishna went back to his heaven. So, when Krishna returned to the spiritual sky, when Krishna died many years ago and he went back, that day Kali entered the world and began to take pleasure in the sinful activities. Why does Kali have to take part in sinful activities? It is not Kali the goddess, it is Kali-yuga. The yuga itself is sinful. You understand what I'm saying? Right? Suppose you have a bar. You know, a bar. Is the bar for specific purpose? Yes, it is for drinking purpose. So people who go over there definitely drink, isn't it? So if you can look at that, if there is a horse race and a person is going for the horse race, he is going for the races, isn't it? It is exactly how Kali-yuga has come about. The yuga itself has brought these problems with it. So all these things that we mentioned in this chapter, beginning of this chapter, where the men are going to be like that, the women are going to be like that, the children are going to be like that, everybody around is going to be in a particular way. So how are they behaving? Exactly in the sinful way. And the yuga has brought it about. Kali has started this cycle of this last yuga, and we are proceeding further. As long as Sri Krishna, the husband of the goddess of fortune, touched the earth with his lotus feet, Kali was powerless to subdue this planet. Kali waited in the wings. She was waiting in the wings and saying, I will wait. The day Krishna goes back, I will take over. When the constellation of the seven sages is passing through the lunar mansion, Magh, the age of Kali begins. It comprises 1200 years of the demigods. When the great sages of the Saptarishi constellation passes from Magh to Purvasada, Kali will have the full strength beginning from King Nanda and his dynasty. So remember the words which he said, 1150 years King Nanda comes into this world. From that day onwards, Kali becomes stronger. When she started, when the Kali-yuga started, it was weak. 1150 years later, it became powerful. Those who scientifically understand the past declare that on the very day that Sri Krishna departed from the spiritual world, the influence of the age of Kali began. We have brought science also over here. So those who understand how this science works will be able to exactly map the date when all this happened, because there are so many indications how this has happened. After 1000 celestial years of Kali-yuga, the Sat-yuga will manifest again. At that time, the minds of all men will become self-effulgent. So Kali-yuga ends and then the Sat-yuga again starts. But when the Sat-yuga is beginning, now what is being mentioned over here is 1150 years, Kali takes precedence. And after she takes precedence, there is another passage of time from which point another 1000 years are counted. And when Krishna comes as Kali, or Kalki avatar, that is the next step. At that point in time, everything will become different. Thus, I have described the royal dynasties of Manu as it is known on this earth. One can similarly study the history of the Vaishyas, Shudras, and the Brahmanas living in the various ages. These personalities who have great souls are now only known only by their name. They exist only in accounts from the past, and only their fame remains on the earth. So if you look at the past kings which have come and gone, you can only go to the history books and say, oh, there was this king, then there was that king, and then this happened, and then that happened. We don't remember anybody, except for the history books. Do you really want to know about these kings? See, you are already yawning. You really don't want to know, because who cares about these kings? What has happened to them? Nothing good has happened. Nothing good has come out of it. So nobody recounts them. It's only in the history books. Devapi, the brother of Maharaja Santanu, and Maru, the descendant of the Ishwaku, both possess great mystic strength and are living even now in the village of Kalapa. At the end of the age of Kali, these two kings, having received instructions directly from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, will return to human society and re-establish the eternal religion of man, characterized by the division of Varna and Dharma, Ashrama, just as it was before. So, we are talking about two races on two sides. Manu will be on one side, and the second one is Devapi, the brother of Maharaj Santanu. He will be on the other side, and they will come and repopulate the earth. Right? The cycle of the four ages, Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali, continues perpetually among living beings on this earth, repeating the same general sequence of events. My dear King Parikshit, all these kings I have described, as well as the human beings, come to this earth and stake their claims, but ultimately they will all give up this world and meet their destruction. Everybody has to give up and meet their destruction. And the yugas will keep on continuing. It's not that it's going to stop somewhere, it's going to continue one after the other after the other. Even though a person's body may now have the designation of a king, in the end it will be known as, it will be worms, stool, and ashes. What can a person who injures other living beings for the sake of his body know about his own self-interest, since his activities are simply leading him to hell? So even if there is a king, even if there is a rich man, even if there is a ruler, even if there is a company head, please understand, all of them, everybody without any exception, is going to go to the dogs. He is going to go to their ruins. So how is he going to go to the ruins? It will be in the form of worms, stools, or ashes. Got it? Whatever they are doing today in their self-interest, the Divine Lord takes care of all this and he destroys them. Don't worry. This is what is going to happen. The materialistic king thinks, this unbounded earth was held by my predecessor and now under my sovereignty. How can I arrange for it to remain in the hands of my sons, grandsons, and other descendants? Dynastic rule. Do you think any dynasty has remained? No. Even the politicians, they are thinking dynastically. Do you think they will remain? Nothing. This book is telling us that no dynastic rule will remain for a very long time. You may think that my son will come, my grandson will come, my great-grandson will come. Nobody is going to take charge. All of them will go to the ruins. All of them will go to the dogs. Okay? All the foolish accept the body made on earth, water, and fire as me, and this earth as mine. In every case, they have ultimately abandoned both their body and the earth and passed away into oblivion. So such kind of people, they have gone, leaving their bodies behind, which have gone to the dust and the ruins, and nobody has carried anything with them. What is it that we have to do in this yuga? Can we be our good selves? Can we bring the goodness back on this earth within our old people, Can we be nice and kind and compassionate and loving? You see, these are the words I keep on always using, and this is exactly what you are supposed to do. If you want Krishna to be alive in you, in the devotion that you have, then you need to bring the mode of goodness inside of you. Okay? My dear King Parikshit, all these kings who tried to enjoy the earth by their strength were reduced by the force of time to nothing more than historical accounts. So all these kings, all the leaders, everybody who came in, what has happened to them? They have only become a name in the history books. Beyond that, there is nothing remaining of theirs. Nobody can retain himself established for millions or thousands of years. The only being who can establish himself is Krishna. So we have come to the end of this chapter. So we have ended a chapter which was talking about such terrible things, which is called the symptoms of Kali-yuga. So next time we are going to talk about another chapter which is called Bhumi Gita. So tomorrow we will have that lesson. So have a good day. Take care of yourself. Bye.